about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
It's Happy Monday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. And today, we are talking about living beyond my representative, which has everything to do with being your authentic self. And so my special guest, Tammy Austin, who is a licensed mental health counselor in the Orlando area, is going to join me momentarily. But before she does, I want to hear from you. Tell me where you are tuning in from. We are live on Conversations with Nicole Facebook, Conversations with Nicole YouTube, and on the Greater Works Network on RokuTV. So if you will, those of you on Facebook and YouTube, let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments. This is an interactive live, and we fully expect to hear from you. We want your questions. We want your comments. We want your engagement. So I see my cousin Denise. Look, she was here before we started. Thank you for being here, cousin Denise in Texas. My mom down in Miami. Thank you for being here, Mar. It was so wonderful seeing you yesterday. Happy Mother's Day again. Every day is Mother's Day. Miss Portia down in Miami. I love that song too, Miss Portia. I need one more verse. Look, let's see if we can get DJ to give us one more line, and we'll have a hit record on our hands. All right. Thank you for being here. And again, happy belated Mother's Day. All right, so we're going to just, allow folks to chime in when they can, but I'm going to go ahead and read my guest's bio. Miss Tammy Austin is a licensed mental health counselor and the owner of Authentically You Counseling. And it's just one chapter coaching. I like that. It's just one chapter coaching. She recently wrote and published her passion project, a customizable therapy workbook and journal designed to enrich the therapy experience for greater authenticity. Ms. Austin specializes in the treatment of anxiety and depression, couples therapy, and attachment work. Her life and relationship coaching work creates clarity, presence, and focus for action and growth. Ms. Austin is a seasoned and relatable telehealth provider in Orlando, Florida, with a statewide and country reach for her coaching clients. So, y'all help me welcome Miss Tammy Austin.
Hi. Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. So I want to have you tell us a little bit more about you. One of the questions that I typically ask my guests is, who are you? Not what do you do, but who are you? So if you don't mind sharing a little bit with that with us, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, who am I? I am someone who, at this point in time, am like most people at our footprint and, let's say, legacy. Notice when in the intro you said seasons. I am seasoned, and probably at the time when most people are thinking about winding it down, and I am so much in that next chapter. So I am really about trying to live my best life. Not saying that it's always easy, especially when you have lots of things that you feel like God wants you to do. So that's sort of where I am.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. I see we have Miss Marjorie Foster on the line with us, and happy belated Mother's Day to you as well, Marjorie. Thank you for being here. So, are you a mother, Tammy?
I am. I'm the mother of two.
Okay.
A 30 something and a 20 something. So yes.
Been in the 20 something. All right. Good deal. Well, happy belated Mother's Day to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about why you started your business.
I'm sorry, and I know it sounds like a little bit of a delay tonight, so I'm going to ask you, could you repeat that question, please?
Sure, no problem at all. Tell us how you started your business. Why did you start your business?
Well, honestly, I started I was a counselor in high school. I was a peer counselor in high school,
Mhm.
and I knew I wanted to do some kind of therapy. If you had asked me, actually, even before then, what I wanted at about 12, I would have said I wanted to be a psychologist. And so I always knew for an interest in this type of work. Fast forward many years, literally sitting in a meeting one day. I worked in my government job. I was in a meeting and I heard what sounded like a very audible voice that said, "You don't belong here anymore. It's time to go."
Wow.
And okay. And that was sort of after three years of how much longer, God? What's next? What's next? And
Mm,
that's, yeah, literally one day. And I thought that, no, that can't be God. And then I heard and some things started to happen. And I realized it really was time to go. That was
hmm.
almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, wow, yeah. And so took the leap and left the W-2 job, started what is, I should say, Journeys in Counseling.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, after all these years, people still say Journeys in. And I had somebody ask me that today. And again, that was a name that God inspired name, and Journeys in Counseling meant that the end of whatever issues people were dealing with, be it the anxiety, depression, the angst, whatever it was, to an end. And
Love
then we work on some things and help you get to where you needed to be. But the name meant. However, I now have a DBA, Authentically You Counseling. So just like my business is a transition, I have too. And so I'm all about the authenticity now.
Okay. All about the authenticity. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So we have Yvonne Martin joining us. Good evening. Thank you for being here. Yvonne, where are you tuning in from? Let us know. What city and state? Let us know. All right. So again, we are going to move forward. I know there will be some others that will join us, but before we move forward, I definitely want to read my disclaimer since I have a licensed clinician on, and that is that all topics, past, present, and future, on Conversations with Nicole are for informational purposes only. They are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. All right. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. Living beyond my representative. Living beyond my representative. So that's the title, right?
Title, yes.
Okay. So tell us about that title.
Okay, well, I'm going to say all of us have representatives. And what the workbook is about, I based it on roughly, say, the 4 months of therapy and working with the wonderful people that I've had the opportunity to work with and co-facilitate their journey. It is being your best self, your best and most authentic self. And that's usually what's uncovered. And so people may come in the door dealing with depression or and as a result of anxiety, problems in their marriage, transitions in life, sort of end up in that same place. And that place is, who am I at the end of the day, living out my best life? And when I say best, just my that's satisfying to me, because best is subjective. And said, we all have a representative. That representative is informed based on our childhood, our family, teachers, people in our community, all of that. Actually, even our birth order, all of that can impact who we think we are. So that's the question that I start off with. Who do you think you are?
Okay, so let's pause. Let's pause. Let's pause. I hope y'all heard all of that. Our representative, okay? And so I want to ask the viewers, who do you think you are? Actually, that's why I asked the question that I ask of my guests, who are you? I mean, yes, my guests submit their bios, but oftentimes I just want to hear your own words outside of, all the letters behind your name and whatever accolades that the world has given you, but and not to discount those, but who do you say you are? So if you all will, in the comments, let us know, who are you? Who do you think you are?
And that's the way I say it. Who do you think you are?
Who do-
Because it has everything to do with this.
yes, so let us know if you don't mind. Just briefly, no dissertations, no long storybooks, just briefly, who do you think you are? And if you need some help, maybe just characterize yourself in maybe 3 to 5 words if you struggle with talking about yourself. So let us know in the comments, who do you say you are? Who do you think you are?
I'm going to help out a little bit if I
Okay,
can.
sure.
Most people say I'm friendly, I'm approachable, I'm confident,
Uh-huh.
I'm confident, I'm competent, I'm well, is what they'll say.
All right. Did you say well put together?
Well put together. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. All
Yeah.
right.
I asked the question from the point of, you're coming out of your house in the morning, maybe you're getting your dress
Mm,
church, you're dressed for going out with friends.
all
That version of you that door. Who
gotcha.
is that? Who is that? Because that's a representative as well of.
It is. It is. It is. So we got
Mhm.
Roz on. She said, Granny Roz, thank you for being here, Roz. A caregiver. All right. Marjorie said, a creative who prides herself in motherhood, social services, helping others, and chasing God. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. All right. And then we have Miss Yvonne Martin on. All right. She says, your mother is such a positive soul and shares her energies and talents at Mount Hermon in Miami. I am grateful to share my talents and skills as a retired nurse. I am gifted to share my love with others. Love it. Well, thank you for being on here, Miss Yvonne Martin. We appreciate you tuning in from South Florida. All right, and we got Miss Tracy Golay in here with us. Good evening. She's in Tallahassee. So, again, for those of you who may be just joining us, we're talking about living beyond our representative and being authentically ourselves, but we are speaking specifically, foundationally, in terms of the representative and who that is. And so I asked for our viewers to chime in and tell us in the chat, those of you who are on YouTube and Facebook and don't mind sharing, this is a safe space for us to communicate. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? So I think I am a giver, a supporter, a peacemaker, a listener, and mm, I think I'm a crab sometimes too. I'm a crab. I'm a Cancer, so I'm a crab. So sometimes I hide in my shell. All right. Pumpkin said
A
uh,
kind,
carding, maybe
maybe
caring,
caring.
maybe kind and caring. Maybe that's what she's saying. Let us know, Pumpkin, if that's what you're saying. All right. So thank you for those of you who are willing to share tonight. I think that um hearing what people think of themselves is important. We all get uh messaging around who people think that we are or what others' perspectives are of ourselves, but it's good to hear what we think of ourselves.
One of the things that comes up though is, let's just say you grow up in the family, you are um, sort of rewarded for being the good child. The
Mm-hmm.
good child, you don't give your parents any problems, um, for you in that family environment. And then
Mm-hmm.
you go out into the larger world, you're still the good child. And then you're, the good adult, the good, tries to do everything the right way. And even to the point that you really overextending yourself at times
Mm-hmm.
and not even allowing yourself to maybe tap into the exhaustion and try in terms of, because again, you're the good one, you're the one that gets things done, you're the one that everybody depend on. Those are the people I see. They're tired. And so they're tired. So we walk through that. We walk through how were you and how was that informed? How was that role or that representative created for you? And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that doesn't more because you're tired. You're just tired. And so sort of the, who do you think you are? Who do other people, because as you walk through that,
Yeah.
who do
Yeah.
they need you to be?
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed. So when we talk about living beyond my representative, I think that's so fitting in the whole idea of who do you think you are and knowing yourself. Knowing yourself, know thyself is my theme for this year. And so throughout all of the shows that I've done, that's been kind of a reoccurring theme. Know thyself, because I think many of us are walking around here just being our representative and who others want us to be, right? And that's
Very,
a myriad of reasons.
and I think as we get older, it's more
Mhm,
important. It's more important to kind of remove those vestiges who people needed us to be, and
mhm.
even who we thought we needed to be, so
Yeah.
that we can be honest with ourselves. And that's where the authenticity comes in. And it's not, in some cases, it might look like somebody where it pulled the mask off. And I've been thinking about this and kind of working in this area for a long time now. But people say, oh, we got married and they changed. And
Mm,
that's sort of where it started. You got married and it changed.
mm,
And like, how did that happen exactly? Because, that old saying, people show you who they are.
mm.
And people do show you who we don't always want to see, but people show us who they are. And so it bothered me to the point I wanted to do something when I would hear people say they. And so, because you can date the representative and you can marry the representative and you
Mm.
can live a long time with the representative. And then it's sort of those situations, oh, one day, maybe that person said they didn't want to be married. Or just, the longer you get to know a person, you start to see some
Mm.
attitudes that are confusing.
Right.
And, sort of where is it? And again, it's the representative, and sometimes it comes off and you start to see who's really there.
Indeed. So we got a few more people chiming in, so I definitely want to acknowledge their comments. My sister said that she's a teacher, a giver, encourager, listener. Very good. Love it. Lisa Herring Myrick, who's here in Tallahassee, she said, advocate for my family, community, teacher, and I really love being a mother and a nana boo to my grandchildren. Yes, she is a nana boo indeed. All right. Tracy Golay said, the middle child, the mediator, the problem solver, sometimes not solving my own dilemmas. Oh boy, do I know that all too well. Just helping everybody else with their problems. I get it.
Yeah, and I appreciate her response. Like I said, that's usually kind of how we get here is I'm up for everybody else, but I
Mm,
don't always show up for myself.
yes, indeed. All right. Ms. Yvonne said, I am learning to accept my limitations and not feel guilty. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Pumpkin said, kind, caring, great listener, confident, and trustworthy. What some would call good people. Indeed. Definitely are good people, Pumpkin. My cousin Tracy is on. Thank you, Dr. Tracy. Appreciate you. My mom said caring, supporter, gifted. Indeed. Love it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Miss Marjorie said my representative began as a child as it was passed down by my mother. She was very strict with image and
Wow,
representation. It was
I
difficult
love it.
to release that in adulthood. We were taught to play this role of representative until marriage, but no one told you what to do after that is accomplished. What next? Ooh,
I love it. Yes,
that's
yes.
real good. Real good, Marjorie. Thank you for sharing that. So do you run across that much in practice or coaching, Tammy?
A lot. And so what I decided to, and I call this the work, a book that I wrote is 200 pages. It's actually journaling to check in with themselves daily once they've identified that they a more authentic life. But yes, I run into this, and I wanted something people that may not ever go to therapy that they could use, but certainly for those who decide to participate in therapy, that they had a place to put. They had a place to kind of monitor their levels of that and to really dig in because truly these are in the workbook are the questions that I talk with people about. And so they've been road tested and they really do help people begin to dig deeper into the, well, why am I? Or why is it that, certain things are triggers for me? Where did that come from? What would I like to be able to do about it? So yes, this is probably a good 95% of what I do.
Wow. All right.
Mhm.
So hearing that, that this is what was passed down in Marjorie's case by her mother, that you are this image and representation until you're married, and then what? You know, if you're not truly who you are, boy, what a time to find out when you get married to somebody.
But that is what happens. That is what happens for people. And the what I'm finding now is as I'm working with, say, the one individual, there is a partner there, and we are talking about things like emotional triggers and just some. I'm encouraging them to the level that they're comfortable to share their thoughts, share the questions with their partners so that
Mm,
they can talk about them and they have some same language able to talk about. Because how do you say, I used to like, okay, I used to like X, but now here we are 10 years into the marriage, 15 years, and I don't like X anymore. I like, and to be able to have those conversations. Okay, because sometimes people go there and they want to accuse their partners of things. Who have you been around and what's happened and how you're changing? Well, it's really me. And maybe I've never really had the chance to figure out who I really. And
wow.
so now that I feel safe enough, confident enough, whatever, cases may be, some of those other vestiges again have been removed. I can start to explore that. Life came at them fast. So 18, 20 years old, all of a sudden you have a child. You don't have just years of remaining adolescence to figure out who you are. Sometimes you have to jump into adulthood. Trauma.
So you said a few things, and you're a little in and out. So I'm catching some of it. I don't think all of it, but I'm going. You let me know if I'm speaking out of turn. But to the thought of, like you're saying, you get married, you have this child or children, begin to have children, and now even if you're going at it from a standpoint of your representative is getting married to this person, but children have a way of bringing something else out of you, right? Because now you are protecting and providing for them. And so it taps into some other parts of you that maybe you didn't even realize you actually had.
No, exactly. And I've seen those little the children will introduce you to yourself, and they will introduce you to yourself that you didn't know were there. Be it the patient part, the not so patient part. And okay, if we can, let's talk for a minute about attachment. And if I had healthy attachment figures as a child, okay, I'm going to know what to do and feel when my child is crying, or I'm going to know how to respond if my child is being, okay, I'm going to say a little defiant at that young age, and I'm not taking it personally because I know, or my child is needing a level of nurturing from. I need to be able to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Versus, and so it totally. But I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking of, times being told that you'll grow up with your children. I mean, think about that one for a minute. You'll grow up with your children. How you all grow up together.
Yeah.
That right there.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think so. I was a relatively young mother. I was 21 when I had my son, and so in some regards, I feel like we kind of grew up together, but in other regards, no. I mean, I had, there were some clear lines that were set in terms of boundaries and, things that you do and don't do with your child. So I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that one, but
no, I don't agree with it. But I'm just saying, I was putting it out there to say though, but sort of what that was the thinking that it's kind of like it's okay even fully. You haven't figured out who you are because there's to discover ourselves. There's opportunities that we need to be able to kind of see how we perform under certain different types of circumstances. You don't know those things.
Agreed. All right, let me pause. I see Miss Kiosha is here with us. She's here in Tallahassee. Marjorie said, children started my period of self-exploration. Okay. We're going to come back to that one. And Miss Margot Thomas is on with us. And Margot is the one that introduced me to Tammy Austin. So thank you for being here, Margot. Margot is in Jacksonville. She used to be here in Tallahassee, so we miss you. And happy belated Mother's Day to you, Miss Margot. All right, so we are close to the halfway mark, so I want to take this moment really quickly to do my station ID, and that is to let those of you who are just joining us know that you are on with myself and Tammy Austin, who is a clinician out of Orlando, Florida, and we are talking about living beyond my representative, living beyond my representative. And we're talking authenticity, we're talking knowing thyself. And so this has been an interesting conversation. Marjorie talked specifically about being her representative starting as a child with her mom, you know, passing down this whole image, this strict image and representation, and you had to maintain this until marriage. And so we kind of talked around that a little bit from the standpoint of, you know, if you get married and you don't really know who you are, then what happens? That's a scary thought, because now you're with this stranger, you know, maybe this person that you have pretended to be these things to, and you know, you get into this marriage and now you're saying, no, I don't really like these things, or that's not really me, or what have you. Yikes. I don't know. That sounds really dysfunctional to me. Miss you too, Margot. She said thank you. Lisa says society puts a lot of pressure on motherhood. Agree. What you think about that, Tammy?
No, I would agree. It does put a lot of pressure on. If you think about it too, if you haven't had the opportunity to figure out who you are, who you are, empty. It's like all of a sudden you're going along, and then it just drops off, and then it's sort of the now what and what's next. So I work with in terms of their what's next, because what's next is what you get to define it to be, create it. You know, and for so many, we're still figuring that out in our 40s, our 60s, still figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I encourage people, again, the women that I work with, even that use the workbook, share this with them. Talk to the women, the young women, talk to your daughters, because you generational stuff along the way. But talk to them about these things, and really kind of sitting with themselves and checking in with themselves to see what they're feeling inside. Because again, so often, and I'm going to say especially Black and brown, we are taught that somehow, we don't feel certain things, and that we are supposed to push through and power through, and just keep it moving.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually was going to ask a question around Black and brown folks specifically, and I believe it is the boy that talks about a double consciousness, right? The thought that as Black folks in America, we are one way with Black folks and another way with non-Black folks. And so I guess the modern day term for that would be code switching. And so our history has the example of code switching or the double consciousness, right? And with that, just again, in being Black in America and surviving and trying to get by, does that help perpetuate this idea of our representative?
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely does. I mean, yeah, earliest, and I always share this sometimes too, but I know memory of being introduced to that was my father, probably in 3rd grade. I have to be, okay, you have 3 strikes against you. I'm in 3rd grade.
Oh, wow.
I got 3 strikes against me. You got to be smarter. You got to be this. You got to be that. It's like you got to jump higher. You got to do all of these things. If you want to, even if you want to compete, if basically, the field is not going to be a level. It's not going to be fair. I'm in 3rd grade, and you're telling me that true, out the door you go, after life. And I know he meant well. He was,
Mm.
I'm trying to prepare you for what's out there. But how many times and how many different have we heard that? And so we have to, as hoping, we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to have that work persona, and in some cases, the church persona, again, part of the work again is looking at all of those different roles, and
Mhm.
then going down to what's the you know yourself to be in your heart of hearts, that you take a look at the one that only you know.
Mhm.
And then I like to kind of down a little bit and say, wow, let's look at the differences between that public face and that private face. Let's switch it around and look at the face, that the version of you that the friend else in your world sees, and the things that they say about you. And again, and what you really know. And that's actually pretty fascinating when you stop and you look at that, because then and again, you see how I need to show up. I'm tired. We have much gas in the tank, but I need to show up over here.
Yes.
You know?
Mhm. So many thoughts are swirling around in my head right now. I think the most prevalent is, again, this whole double consciousness or code switching piece. And I know that in a moment of transparency, I have felt like I wish I could really be who I am, and not have to be concerned about this, the shade of my skin hindering me or holding me back because of people perceiving me a particular way based on the color of my skin. And
Let's
so
talk.
I just think about maybe some young people that may be challenged in that way. I'm from Miami. I can recall specifically groups of people from other countries coming to Miami, specifically of Haitian descent, and Black Americans not treating them very well. And as a result, I had heard stories, and this was when I was in high school, junior high school. You heard stories of Haitian young people from Haiti committing suicide or dying by suicide because of the being picked at or bullied or what have you for being different. And and not that I would say that I had gotten to that point, but you know, it could be challenging. And so I think about, again, some of the young people that may be experiencing some of these things now in 2023, and what impact that has on them.
I think it's heavy, and there's not a lot of it, but I think it comes out in so many different ways. And I
Mm,
think even during the pandemic, what I saw was I saw women of color deciding it's time, especially it's like that it's time. I'm going to therapy. It's time to talk about this. I work with many professional women that talk about the pressure sometimes being the only one in their area and having all of this, and just kind of, I'm going to say, push through. Again, especially during the pandemic, especially when things really are in this country, and I think people of color were starting to say, we've had we've had enough of carrying on and pretending that this thing is heavy,
mm,
pretending that we aren't traumatized. There's not trauma being Black in this country, and what that feels like every day, all day, because we let's take it off. And
mm,
so the self that this will come is not always who we really are. Like you said, I'm thinking hair. I
mm,
think about hair, and this is authentic for me now,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it because it's like, hey, this is who I am, and and I think embracing things like that and embracing the things that make you you
Yeah.
today.
So, and it's not always been that way. I can also recall, you know, going to FAMU in the School of Business and Industry, and the idea of, if you want to be in corporate America, there's a certain look that you must have.
Oh yeah.
Is, straight hair, that is permed hair, that is pressed hair. So wearing, my hair in its natural state, that's not going to be acceptable. And so we're talking like late 80s, early 90s. So yeah, there's this conforming that takes place, right? And I think to some extent, some folks will say, well, that's, organizational behavior, but it doesn't leave much room for originality and authenticity, right?
And I think there's going to be even less room, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
even less room for that. Yeah.
Well, I think things are, it appears at least that there are some accommodations that are being made. Although they're in Florida, that's being challenged with the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's a whole nother live.
Inclusion. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's a lot to kind of unpack, when you think about it. And so I know we have a number of people tuning in, and I'm not gonna, have you all share your personal experiences on here, but again, thinking about how you've had to maybe represent yourself in America, as people of color, and maybe it's been a little off-putting, because you've been trying to fit in, or for livelihood purposes, that sort of thing. And maybe it takes you getting to the point of retirement to actually be truly who you are, unless maybe you are, self-employed or something like that. So again, lots of thoughts kind of swirling around in my head as it relates. I think it's showing up as we are having this conversation. I'm just thinking about places where our representative is present, and that's just because, again, we're trying to survive.
And I think, and that's what it's about. Because I'm going to tell you, I feel my heart sad to think that people would have to, in age in 2023, that I can't go to work and go into different rooms and be myself. And so it's really, how can you, if you think about it as a spectrum, how can I at least things that move myself closer to my true and authentic self?
Okay.
And yeah. So I'm not advocating that somebody go and do something dramatic that you have people going, oh my God, aghast with what? No, not that. At the end of the day, that you can look in the mirror and see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can look in the mirror and see you looking back at you.
I like that. Let me bring Marjorie's comment up. Well, actually, let me do Margot before. She said, coming from another country adds another dimension to this. And we were talking about the representative, but Marjorie, who is a Haitian descent, she said, absolutely. We were tormented growing up in Miami from how we look, dress, and what we ate. Until this day, some Haitians hide the fact that they are Haitian in fear of discrimination. So, we can really do a number on one another. And I believe that's definitely out of a lack of knowledge and ignorance, and probably believing some of the stereotypes that are put out there, from people from different cultures or different places. So, we gotta hold space for people, and and educate ourselves and have more empathy. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, because we're all on this journey of authenticity. And the key is to be able to do daily things to just check in with you. Because so
Mm.
often we're so busy about the business of being busy that we don't check in with ourselves and to see where is it hurting today? And where do I need to give myself a little more love, a little more grace today?
Yeah.
And once I know that, then where can I offer grace to others? But
Mm.
again, it makes things with myself. I listened to it was a song, and it just one day kind of scrolling through, and I read this post of living, and the woman that was talking about it was saying soft living shouldn't be tied to your bank account or your status, and about how people of any status can live soft and have softness in them. And so I did a talk recently with a group of married people, and I was talking to them who love soft. And what does that look like what would that look like? Soft loving, meaning that, we're not fighting with each other. There's not that striving against each other, but instead we're striving together. What would that soft living look like in our marriage? As an individual, what would soft living look like? So you're not every day getting up time today, because that's exhausting. And so what are the things that I can do to make soft areas in my life?
Hmm. Interesting. Soft living. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So is you believe that that's one way that we can live more authentically?
Yes, creating the structures and the routines in our life
Okay. All right.
that help us to care to be softer with ourselves. Years ago, I read a book about women in self-care, and the author was saying you don't have to necessarily end the day with nothing left in the tank. How often do we do that? You clean up until you're ready to fall out, or whatever the case may be. You
Mm.
clean up, you're cleaning up your house, you're straightening something up, you're taking care of somebody, and there's nothing left for you.
Mm.
And then you get up the next day and you do it all again.
So, so how do you, all right? So you mentioned soft living, but give us a little bit more on that.
Making your way a little softer, making your day a little bit softer, so you're not so beat up in your day. And so that might be doing things like planning nutritious meals for yourself so you have time to eat and enjoy your food. You're eating well. You don't have to eat the most expensive thing, you're eating well.
Hmm.
You're getting the rest that you need. You're listening to your body. You're able to stop and just take a break.
Mm.
Maybe that, and I say to people, that's just getting outside for a few minutes, getting away from a computer screen. Um, I was in a little virtual workshop one day, and they were showing us how to do eye orbital massages. That is an amazing little thing. Just massaging your literally massaging your eyeball, just like that. Gently massaging the eyeball all the way around, all the way from the bottom up to the edge of the eye. That's amazing. That feels amazing, and it's good for you. So
Wow.
yeah, little things like that. Stretching, taking a walk, taking a walk. Just sitting and doing nothing for a few moments, giving yourself permission to say, I'm not thinking about anything and I'm not doing anything. And if you have time and you can do it, you can take a 15-minute power nap, set your phone, your watch, your everything, so it's just 15 minutes. But doing little things like that. Not only that, but having people in your life that are soft.
Mm.
People that you don't have to constantly be on edge with and fighting with, and just having those those difficult conversations with.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So let me say that again. Soft living.
Soft living.
Soft, yeah. It's like everybody say it with me. Soft living.
Soft living. Right. I can hear y'all out there. I can hear y'all out there. Soft living. Y'all put soft living in the comments for us. Soft living. I want to encourage us to live softly. Live softly. Live softly. You know, we talk about uh coping skills and doing the things that we need to do in order to manage, right? Especially when a crisis comes along. And so I think soft living, this is a new concept for me, but I think some of the things that you mentioned definitely align with that soft living. All right, so we got some folks chiming in. All
I
right,
like it, yeah.
yes. Vaughn says she agrees with soft living. Love it. Shayla, soft living. Yes. All right. Marjorie, soft living. Yes. Margot, soft living. Yes. Lisa said, as I get older and learn self worth from my past challenges, I decided to let people know who I wasn't or who they thought I was and move forward towards my new goals in life. Soft living. Love it, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. So we got to live softly in order to not expend all of us, right? Save some of us for ourselves.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And that's okay. And I so often, some of the women, I feel so guilty. I feel so guilty because I'm just trying to take a little bit for me.
Yeah, no, self-care is not selfish.
I mean, we hear you can't pour from an empty cup, but you know what? So many of us have learned how to pour from an empty cup, even if it means getting it out of that cup so that somebody can get that last little drop.
That last little drop. Mm. Woo! You are stepping all on my toes tonight, ma'am. But I love it. Listen. We need to hear it. We need to hear it. So I'm going to ask the viewers to share with us how maybe you do some soft living. Lisa kind of started it out. My mom said soft living, especially after retiring. Young people don't wait, do it now. So my mom is encouraging us to live softly now.
That is true because we think it sometimes. Again, we don't think about it, and then we don't think we deserve it. We
Yeah,
don't think we deserve it.
yeah, yeah.
That goes back to who do we think we are? We don't think we deserve it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So one of the things that I am being intentional about is during my breaks at work to not work through them, but to get up and walk. So today, on my 20-minute break, I walked a mile, which was around the building several times. And so, by the end of the month, I should have 30 miles behind me, roughly. Hopefully, something like that. Or maybe more. I get 2 20-minute breaks, but I have committed to at least one of them, me getting up and walking. So
Which is important because sitting is the new cigarette smoking. So
I have
get up, get up, get up. Yeah, get up,
I
get
have heard
up.
that. I have heard that. So how are you all living softly? Let me know in the comments. Is there something that you're doing to live softly, whether that is taking that power nap or going for a walk or stretching or doing the eye orbiting massages, eating nutritious meals, or just doing nothing, right? Stretching, deep breathing, meditating. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
Prayer,
Kia,
prayer, prayer walking.
prayer
Get
walk.
get out here and walk and pray and talk to God and listen and just let the Holy Spirit just pour into you while you out here walking.
Yes. Journaling.
Hmm.
having a conversation with a trusted friend or a relative or
Mhm.
a person that you love and respect and that loves and respects you too.
And
So
that's the other part of the soft living. Again, looking around your circle, because sometimes not everybody needs to be in that soft living circle.
yeah, for sure.
Not everybody. And being okay with that. Being okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed.
Mhm.
So Kiosha's cheer me on. Thank you, Kiosha. Kiosha is my rest accountability partner. My rest accountability partner. And I appreciate her so much. All right. Margot said, I am the person who would naturally work until I'm exhausted. I'm doing much better, eating much better, taking time for devotions, writing, spending time with family. Love it. Good job, Margot. Kudos to you. Marjorie, one thing that I love is aesthetic.
Yeah.
All right. I create a beautiful, relaxing space for myself. Even if I cannot go to a restaurant, I plate my food beautifully. Love it. Eat on the patio during the sunset and just breathe. I also indulge in all of my personal interests very selfishly, not exhausting myself.
That's it. That's Marjorie, you got the thing. That's what it is. You don't have to be, it's not for the rich. And we used to think it was for the rich.
Yeah.
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 Miss Marjorie has it going on.
And well done, Marjorie. Bravo. Kudos to you. That's great. That's great. Well, thank you both for sharing those ways that you are living softly. Living softly. All right. Well, we are just about at the end of our conversation. We got Miss Yvonne. She said early morning meditation with nature, listening to the birds and appreciating the flowers. Yes, love it. Boy, sometimes these birds have a whole symphony going on, but I love to hear it. So thank you for sharing that. So, Miss Terry, please give us some closing remarks and share with the viewers how they can connect with you.
Okay. I feel like I need to mention, where does it say podcast host the stories? I actually host a podcast called The Stories. Along the way, I created a website called Therapy Unchained, because I wanted a place to put things that I was thinking, just things I wanted to share with people, resources. So I do host a podcast and I have a blog, and I haven't been able to get to it as much as I would like to, but I do those things. Um, in terms of how to get in touch with me, the best way would be email, jecounselingforyou@gmail.com. Like I said, I also do coaching, life coaching, and I am a licensed mental health therapist as well. I do trauma work and attachment. And it's interesting, I will say, so many people don't realize that they were traumatized until we're talking about it and exploring it. And then some things start to connect in terms of the emotional triggers, in terms of why I feel this way, why I believe this about myself, why I've had eternal guilt for something maybe that happened to me as a child that truly was not my fault. All of those things shape who we think we are. Ultimately, they shape how we walk in our authenticity. And so it's really about clearing that space out so that you get to fill it with what you want to fill it with. No, I hope tonight was thought-provoking and encouraging and even nurturing, that it's okay to go be you, be your best version of you. You get to decide that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a copy of the book handy? I'm putting you on.
I do. I absolutely do. I don't know if this is going to come up backwards, but this is the book. It's in hardcover and it's actually in paperback, and it is on Amazon. And I said it was 200 pages. So I have these daily check-in sheets, And I have the magical questions. Oops, let's see. I have the magical questions here. I wanted it big so people can write in it. And I have spaces to draw. This interesting ladder talks about how you feel at the start of your day and how you feel at the end of your day. So there's lots of room and lots of opportunities to check in with yourself. I walk you through putting it all together so that by the time that you get to the back of this book, you know who you are. A better sense of. There's observation sheets. There's the sheets where if you just want to draw it, you can do that as well. And there's resources in the back, all kinds of resources.
Love it.
My passion project, like I said, it's road tested. Before I publish, I sent it out to some of my current clients and said, hey, tear it apart, give me a feedback. What do you think? And it made me feel good that people said that they could hear me in that. I can hear your voice. I can hear you asking these questions. I like, we're talking about these things. So yeah.
Okay.
It's road tested.
Nice. All right. And so again, the book is called
Living Beyond My Representative.
All right. And that is authored by Tammy Austin. And you all can get that on Amazon. And also, again, check her out via email. She's also on Instagram. Yeah, connect with her. Thank
you.
Let's keep this conversation going around our representative and being our authentic self. So please share this conversation with someone that you think will benefit from it and encourage them to live softly, right? We all about that soft living because we don't want to give ourselves away. We want to save some for ourselves.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Tammy, for being on here. I really do appreciate you and the work that you're doing and for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us tonight.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here. And yeah, this is great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you all. If you have found this to be insightful or encouraging, or again, Marjorie says that this is part of her self-care regimen, being on Conversations with Nicole. So if you found it to be soft living for you, let us know in the comments. I see a few people chiming in, one of them being Marjorie. Great conversation. Thank you for being here, Marjorie. Vanetta, thank you for being here, Vaughn. She is a clinician in North Carolina. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. My sister Shayla, thank you. For those of you who are new to the platform, I definitely invite you to subscribe to Conversations with Nicole. We are here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Roku, Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. The focus is on mental health in Black and Brown communities specifically. Just trying to eliminate the stigma and encourage us to get our checkup from the neck up. All right. My mom said, great subject. Yes, this helps me a lot. Wonderful, Margot. Thank you. Thank you for connecting me with Miss Tammy. Appreciate it. All right. Kelly
McDougal, that's my sister. Yeah, yay. From Connecticut. Yeah.
Being on, sister. She says soft living. All right. Yes, Pumpkin is also agreeing, chiming in. Appreciate you all. All right, very good. Well, we're going to close it on out. Again, for those of you who are new, we invite you to subscribe. We are here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30. And we appreciate your time tonight. Y'all have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.